Yeah, I'm Jeremy. Welcome back to Rugby Informer. Just a quick look at the teams ahead of the Rugby Championship encounter between the All Blacks and Springboks at Ellis Park. It was a bit fortuitous to not do a quick wrap-up of the teams as they were released, as things have changed quite substantially in the last 24 hours. Eben Etzebeth is back into the matchday 23 after there was quite a concern around that lock position. You know, while Etzebeth isn't fast-tracked into the starting lineup, it's probably smart that he's going on the bench because, as Rassie Erasmus said in the week, he had some sort of meniscus injury due to scrumming, so probably being a little bit precautious by giving him less game time, but there's no doubt we'll see Etzebeth coming onto the field, and it's very good news for the Springboks, given how important Etzebeth is in the lineouts. I mean, he stole 3, 4, 5 lineouts from the Australians when they were playing the Wallabies down in Australia. That completely disrupted their set piece and disrupted their momentum, whether it was in their own half or in the Springboks half. So I think it's great to have Etzebeth still in the mix. The rest of the team is looking pretty stable and what became kind of expected from the Boks. The biggest surprise is probably Apelela Fassi playing a fullback, which, if anyone's watched any of my recent videos, I've been waxing lyrical about Fassi over the last couple of weeks. Seeing Fassi in a big game like that is on Saturday, which is probably the biggest game you can get as a Springbok rugby player. He's shown that he can be a test level fullback. His aerial game is fantastic. His return kicks are great. His attacking mindset is what we need against a All Black squad that might be struggling with a little bit of altitude in the second half. So looking at the All Blacks, they've also made some big calls. Tamati Williams starts. I think he's probably the only guy in the world currently who can maybe put up a big fight against Ox and Co. Whether he can get the whole front row to coordinate with him in order to stop the shunt of the Springboks, that's yet to be seen. But I think he is a proper unit, and I think he will cause a lot of trouble up front for the Springboks if they don't get an early push on him. With Ethan Blackadder, Sam Cane, and Ardie Sevilla, along with Scott Barrett adding some grunt in the second row, the All Blacks do have a lot of muscle power for their squad. But what they're really obviously looking to strike is with their backline. While a lot of people, even the Kiwis, were second-guessing Damien McKenzie at fly half, Scott Robinson has played his hand and shown that he thinks he's the man to do it, and Beauden Barrett's at 15. So there's no doubt that they'll be swapping back and forth in terms of who's the initial playmaker and who's kind of falling into that second playmaker role. They got a very fast backline, a very dangerous backline. You know, they've got a team full of X-factor players that can rip apart any side in the world, no matter how good their rush defense or scatter defense is. The real challenge for the All Blacks to see is if they can coordinate and click that into gear. You know, Will Jordan, Rico Ioane, Caleb Clark, these guys are game breakers in their own right. But if they can just get the cohesion between one another and get good ball from a set piece, I think the Springboks are going to have a tough time. But the Springbok side is extremely settled. They know their combinations. They know the sense combinations of the Allender and Creel. Their back three knows what they're doing. At this point, even Fassi, a relatively inexperienced fullback, knows what he's doing. But with stability and familiarity, sometimes complacency can creep in. So the Springboks really need to be on their best to stop this All Black side. They've got an immense amount of pressure against them. The public's kind of turning against the All Blacks a little bit. Scott Robinson's under the pump, and no one knows better than the South Africans as to how dangerous an All Black against the wall can be. So they really need to be on the ball, and I think the little bit of complacency and arrogance can creep into the box if they're not on their A game. So can't wait for the game. Let's see how this transpires. Comment below on the video. Let us know who you think is going to get the better of each other over the weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.